good morning everyone. Welcome to another week on RTO, the first full week in a long time. Hope your Christmas went well and you're all chilling out on a bank holiday Monday. Okay, first band up this week for an album ranking is an American band from Boston, Massachusetts, Extreme. Formed in late 1985. Really good band. Members of Queen thought a lot of these are very good. They've made 5 albums. They're all good. I like there's the one at the bottom is the one that I least like. There's a reason for it, but there are some good tracks on it. Yeah, never saw them, but I do like them. So let's have a look at their discography. So coming in at number 5, we have an album released in 1995. It was the 4th album, Waiting for the Punchline. This is quite a raw sounding record compared with the big productions, and it has got quite a bit of a grunge influence. And it was also the last album that their original drummer Paul Geary played on. So we've got Gary Cherone on lead vocals, Nuno Benancourt guitars, vocals and keyboards, Pat Badger on the bass and backing vocals, Paul Geary on drums, and there are a couple of tracks that Mike Mahangi from Dream Theater drums on: Hip Today, Leave Alone and No Respect. Okay, the first track on the album is called There Is No God. I don't know what Rocky's doing, but he's barking at some scenery somewhere. I do apologise for my dog. So that There Is No God. Now this is not a bad track. It's got a good riff to it, some nice guitar work from Nuno. Not a bad track at all. Next track is Clinical. One of the best. It's not the best track on the album. I think the vocals are a little bit off kilter on this, but the guitar work from Nuno is really, really good. Next track is Tell Me Something I Don't Know. Not too bad. There's nothing special about it. It's reasonable and it's listenable. Hip Today, this is one of the tracks that Mike Mahangi drums on. Some excellent drums on this, but it's a bit of a mediocre song. It's probably one of the weaker ones off the album. Naked, musically it's good. I don't know what's happened to Gary Cherone's vocals on this album. They're just not really there. It's a bit grungy as well, and I'm not a great lover of grunge, but I will say that Nuno Benancourt's guitar work on this track is pretty good as usual. Then we get an instrumental called Midnight Express. Pretty cool, some great licks and riffs from Nuno. Good track. Leave Me Alone. It's not the best track on the album. It's too grungy for me. I just didn't get grunge. No Respect, probably again one of the weaker tracks on the album. It's not very coherent. There's lots going on. It's just too busy for me. Then we get Evangelist. I love this track. This is going back to that original sort of extreme sound. Excellent track. Great vocal from Gary Cherone. Shadow Boxing. It's not too bad. I just think it lacks substance in places. Unconditionally, I don't like that one at all. Fairweather Faith, it's not too bad, but not as strong as other album tracks from other albums. Waiting for the Punchline, the title track, it's not a good track. It just lacks something again. I don't know if it lacks that big production or just a little bit of oomph behind it. Okay, not particularly a favourite album of Extreme by me. It's got a few highlights on it, and it's an album I don't play that often. I think I played it on when I was doing these, listening to these, just to have a catch up on Extreme, and I think I still feel the same as I did when it came out in 1995. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 4, we have the 5th and most current album by Extreme, Saudades de Rock, which translates from Portuguese as Nostalgic Yearings of Rock. It was released in 2008, and it's the first album since 1995, and it's the first release for their new drummer Kevin Figueiredo. So we have got Gary Cherone on vocals, Nuno Benincourt on guitars, Pat Badger as ever on the bass, and Kevin Figueiredo, can't pronounce his name, on drums. First track, Star. I love this track. I love the harmonies at the beginning of this track. Some great riffs here from Nuno. Excellent vocal from Gary. Extreme are back on form with this track. Okay, next track on the album, Comfortably Dumb. Nice track. Great vocals and harmonies again. And a great guitar solo on that one. I do like that one. Learn to Love. I love Pat Badger's bass line on this. It's solid as ever. Leads the track. Good track. Then we get Take Us Alive. Very quirky track. Nice riffs as usual. Tremendous drumming. Absolutely out the top drawer. Really good track. Run. Good rocker. Again, I love the harmonies on Extreme albums. They are all of them are very good singers, and it sounds like an old barbershop quartet. Very, very good. But this track's good. Love Nuno's guitar playing on that. Great track. Last Hour, bit of a slow one here, but again some nice guitar work and a good vocal from Gary. Flower Man, nice little good rocker this, nothing wrong with that one, does what it says on the tin. King of the Ladies, again great work from Pat Badger on this. Great bass line, fantastic track. Ghost, superb track. One of them slow piano orientated tracks that Extreme are very, very good at. Fantastic track. Slide. All that's good about this track, unfortunately, is the guitar solo from Nuno. Bit disjointed in places. Not my favourite track on the album. Interface, one of the classic Extreme slow tracks. It's got everything you need on it. It's got that lovely little bits of keyboard. It's very, very good track. Sunrise, unfortunately, doesn't do nothing for me. And then we get Peace, Saudade. Musically, it's all right, but some of the high notes, Gary sort of struggled a little bit, but it's a decent enough track. Okay, this was certainly a return to form for Extreme after waiting for the Punchline. They've gone back to what they were known for. Solid album. Play this one quite a lot. So I'll give it an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Here he comes, Twinkle Toes. I've left him a gap today, so he may come through all right. Because I did the live stream and he couldn't get through, and he nearly pulled the screen down. Okay then, coming at number 3. Yeah, he's through. Coming at number 3 then, we have their debut album released in 1989, self-titled Extreme. Got some good tracks on here. This is when I first heard Extreme. So we've got Pat Badger on the bass, Noonan Bennincourt on guitar, Gary Cherone on the vocals, and Paul Geary on the drums. Okay, first track, Little Girls. Sounds very much like Aerosmith, the early Aerosmith. Great harmonica, great track though. Wind Me Up, okay, it's one of them cheesy rock tracks, but it's quite pleasant. There's nothing wrong with it. Keyed Ego, great track. I've always liked this one. Got a really great bass line from Pat Badger. Harmonies are fantastic. Lovely stuff. Watching Waiting, one of them 1980s power ballads, so not my favourite track. Then we got Mutter, Don't You Want to Go to School Today. Tell some of their influences on here, bit of Queen, Van Halen as well. Nice harmonies again. Teacher's Pet. Great drumming from Paul Geary. Solid track. Big Boys Don't Cry. Love this track as well. It's got some great riffs. Great vocal from Gary Cherone. Smoke Signals. You can tell where they're influenced from here. There's little bits of Van Halen, Aerosmith and Queen, and there's nothing wrong with that. Solid stuff. Flesh and Blood. More great riffs and solid drumming. Awesome track. Rocker Bye Bye. Nice ballad. Love the orchestral arrangement in this, and some stunning solo guitar from Nuno. Then we get my favourite track on the album. Now this is the first track I ever heard by Extreme. And where did I hear it? On Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. If you remember the bit where all the famous people are in the shopping mall, and you got the Mozart on the keyboards, Joan of Arc doing her aerobics, the songs Play With Me. I just love that rappy sound. The harmonies are fantastic, and obviously the best thing about this is Nuno Bennincourt's guitar solo. It absolutely kills. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely great way to end the album. Okay, a great debut album. Got some great tracks on here. They were still discovering their sound, of course, but you knew there was something good about this band. You know, with that sound, that, you know, the Aerosmith, the Queen, and the Van Halen influence. Oh no, I've got no problem with that. They're 3 bands I love, so I do. That's why I love this album. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 2, we have the second album, released in 1990. Pornograffitti. Gary Cherone, Nuno Bennincourt, Pat Badger, Paul Geary. We've got some guests on here. We've got Barbara Glynn on backing vocals on Decadent Dance. The one and only Pat Travers backing vocals on Get the Funk Out. Got Jeannie Moultrine backing vocals on Susie. Dweezil Zappa plays the intro outro on He-Man Woman Hater. And then we got a brass section on this. Got Got Bob Finlay on the trumpet, Chuck Finlay on the trumpet, Bill Watrous on trombone, Dick Slidehide bass trombone, Pete Christolieb on tenor sax, Joe Peskin tenor sax. Great lineup of people. First track, Decadent Dance. One of my favourite tracks by Extreme. Love the opening to this. Got all the rain and the little bit of piano and then that great riff. Awesome, strong track. Little Jack Horney. Great track. I love the brass. Very reminds me much of Little Angels. Great little track, great guitar riffs, great solo, awesome. Next track, When I'm President. Love the rap bit. Great bass line from Pat Badger as ever. Awesome track. Then we get the Funk Out. Again, funky song, stonking bass line. Great vocals, great vocals from Pat Travers, awesome. Then we get the beautiful More Than Words, just a classic song. Great vocal from Gary, the harmonies on this are just awesome. Money in God We Trust, some great riffs on this. Great guitar work as ever from Nuno. Gary's vocal is on fire, awesome. It's a monster, terrific riff at the start of this. And again we have a great bass line from Pat Badger that carries this song superbly. Title track, Pornograffitti, one of the heaviest tracks I think that Extreme have ever done. It's got them awesome riffs, great solo, brilliant track. Then we get When I First Kissed You, again superb track, jazzy blues thing. I think this is the Queen influence here. I remember when Brian May introduced them at the Freddie tribute, he said these guys were a band that were the nearest to how Queen conceived their music. Spot on, great track. Then we get Susie, Once Her All Day What, great track, excellent brass on this one, fantastic. Then we get He-Man Woman Hater, that guitar solo at the start by Dweezil, fantastic. And then it includes the flight of the one bumblebee. I just love that solo from Nuno, it's brilliant. You get them little speeded up drums, great track, brilliant. Then we get Song for Love, probably one of the weaker songs on the album, I'm not very keen on that one. Then we get Wholehearted, clean the album, quirky, catchy tune, solid track. Very strong album. Love the sound on this, love the production. Queen's sort of influence is coming through. Definitely a great album. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Okay, coming at number 1, we go to the third album. It was released in 1992. And this has got great album, great concept. It's called Three Sides to Every Story. This was the last full album of the original lineup of Gary Cherone, Nuno Benincourt, Pat Padgett and Paul Geary, because he left while they were doing Waiting for the Punchline, hence why Mike Mahang come in. Okay, also we've got Jeremy Miller on violin and Stephen Sergensen on the cello. First track. First part of the album is called Yours. First track, Warheads. Don't you just love that bit with the drill sergeant and then you get Yes Daddy. Brilliant. and then it goes into this absolute 100-mile-an-hour rock track. Awesome. Second track, Rest in Peace. Starts off with a nice little bit of a string quartet, things very, very nice, and then it goes into some great riffing from Nuno. Brilliant track. Political Calamity. Love the guitar work from Nuno on this. From the minute it starts with that great little solo to the drums coming in, it's just solid all the way through. Then we get Colour Me Blind. Lovely harmonies at the beginning, and another truly brilliant bass riff from Pat Badger. Classic stuff. Cupid's Dead. Lot of this funk rock sound that Extreme do. Great guitar work, great spoken vocal on this. Adds to the track, really does. Peacemaker Die. Solid track. Nothing wrong with that one at all. Then we go into the second part of Mine. So the first track is Seven Sundays. Lovely use of strings on this. Great harmonies. This is probably one of the best bits of the album. Then we get the brilliant Tragic Comic. I love this. Obviously it was used in the film Chaplin. Very fitting song. Again, great bass line from Pat Badger. Love the acoustic work in this as well, and the harmonies are so prominent in this song. Brilliant. Our Father. Again, harmonies dominate this song. It's good, strong song. Stop the World. Another great arrangements. Strings, harmonies, guitar solos. You just can't get enough of this. Then we get a little ditty called God Isn't Dead. Very classical influenced here. Great vocal from Gary Cherone. Brilliant. Don't Leave Me Alone. It's just one of them slow, great Extreme tracks. And the final part of the album, The Truth. Basically this is one track. It's called Everything Under the Sun, and it's split into 3 parts. This is my favourite piece on the album. It's 20 odd minutes long, but it is absolutely fantastic. The first bit is called Everything and Rise and Shine. Great start to this epic. Very slow, orchestral driven, lovely vocals. Then it goes into the second bit, Am I Ever Gonna Change? I've always liked this rock band orchestra together. This is a fine example of it. Got them nice heavy riffs, and then you got the orchestra complementing it in the background, running alongside the rock band. Fantastic. And then the last bit is Who Cares? And like most grandeur epics, it builds up. The vocals from Gary on this are superb. It's a really strong piece of best music. I just like how it stops, and then you get a little bit of xylophone. End of. This album, it's one of them albums you cannot just pick tracks off it. You play it from start to finish. I love this album from the first moment I heard it. It's just a brilliant piece of rock music. This is when Extreme, I'd say, really hit the nail on the head on what they were all about. It's well deserved to be my favourite album. It's my go-to album without a doubt. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 9.5. Okay, that's Extreme. Check out the playlist. I've put a few little bits. I haven't put Everything Under the Sun in there because it's 20 odd minutes, so I've just picked a couple of my favourite tracks from the rest of the album for you. I'll be back with a classic album. We're going to do some punk, and we're going to look at the Sex Pistols and their one and only official studio album. And it's never mind the you-know-what, it's the Sex Pistols. So we'll be having a look at that. So I'll be back for that later. So until then, take care for now.